Is it working this time? You're muted, by the way. You're muted, all of you. Make sure to unmute. For some reason it doesn't automatically unmute us.
Okay.
There we go.
I have no idea what is going wrong with my connection today, but everything that could go wrong is going wrong. So get your bingo cards out, folks. We've had audio issues, technical issues. I don't know what is going on. I'm just going to try something. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
There we go. Now you should be seeing everything. Someone's saying which is not working.
YouTube streaming is just better. I agree.
Mark, welcome back again, mate. How you doing?
I know, right? I'm becoming a regular at this stage.
Nah, it's good, mate.
It's
It's good. It's just it's a very, very different vibe doing the show now, mate. We've talked about it a bit, but it's a lot more relaxed and it's just good to get on, talk shit, and not get hit.
It's good. It's been enjoyable recently.
And speaking about talking shit, Goodcluck, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
What an intro there, mate. Talk about talking shit. Hey, Goodcluck, how you doing, mate? Oh, mate, Goodcluck, you've been around the community for a while now, mate. Getting to be one of the older people who've been following us.
Yeah, I mean,
Man, not that.
I'm a more of a follow from the shadows kind of person, but
nothing wrong with that. Lurkers are very important.
Yeah, but I mean, as I've gotten to know at least the amount of persona that people let onto the Discord and gotten to know how cool a lot of the people are, just, I don't know, I've opened up a little bit. This is probably about the most social I am outside of my regular life.
This is the most social I am, including my regular life. For me, this is my outlet, though. So that's why I'm as weird as I am, because I'm even worse IRL, aren't I, Marks?
You're not that bad. You're not that bad.
Not that good either. See, you gotta read between the lines there. You're not that bad. You're a fucking idiot, mate. You're just not going to say that live on fucking show about you. But no, it's awesome.
No, you're good. You're good.
Tell us a bit about yourself, Goodcluck. What's your background?
Well, I just turned 43. I'm an old man, and
you're not an old man. 43 is young.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. I started a career just in retail, doing just basic jobs, nothing real long term. I kind of reset my life in my early 20s and went back, got a degree and started working in the medical field. And basically my gaming life kind of ended at that point for about 10, 12 years. I had been a big gamer when I was a kid. I started out with a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo, and I kind of left all that behind whenever I got into my professional life. As I got older, got experience, got into a better place where I could actually go back and get back into some of the things I liked when I was younger. I think it was a PlayStation 4 at the time. And over that year, this was probably coincided with late 2019 and then early 2020. I went through the same thing a lot of people probably do of you're looking on the PlayStation store, you're trying to find something new, something interesting. You try this game, you end up spending a bunch of money on things that you never play more than once. And probably at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I saw this game, DayZ. I was like, that's interesting. I've never heard of that. And I downloaded it, and I guess the rest is history from there.
Who was it you saw?
Oh no, I just saw the game. I didn't know anything about it. I was looking for something different.
You found the game before you were aware of the content for it.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, I
Damn,
was.
you're like a rooster's teeth, mate. Rare as or hen's teeth, rare as rock and all shit.
Yeah, I had been into gaming for so long. I missed the start of it. I didn't even know what Arma was at that point. I had no idea where it came from.
Right.
And I started playing it, a lot of it just offline, but I was interested enough in it and how it worked. I started reading online about it. I ended up getting a Nitrado server just to kind of play around with it. And long story short, I bought a PC very shortly thereafter. And
So you were a console gamer beforehand?
Yeah. I had always preferred consoles. I hadn't really been into PC gaming back since probably the last PC I had that I gamed on had a 386 processor, if that tells you anything about how long ago it was.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. I was around when the first SimCity came out. That was my first PC game that I bought.
Oh.
What was it? What was the glitch there? The was it 70-30 tax rate or something like that? I remember there was just this one thing about it that if you did that, you had a perfect game.
Yeah, I don't know. I sucked at it, but I played it anyway.
Yep. No, it was a fun game. You probably remember the original Grand Theft Auto, the top-down view of the game.
Yeah. I actually I have a copy of that. I went back and got some of the greatest hits that I missed out on, and that holds a special place in my collection.
Yep, definitely does. It's interesting, Mark, though, with a lot of particularly older gamers who were, pretty much, gaming PCs were always around, but it was never that huge way back. But the console market, with the Ataris and the Nintendos and the PlayStations and all the rest of it, there was always PC gaming. But for a lot of older gamers, and this ties in with part of why we've got Goodcluck on, why DayZ appeals, but for a lot of older gamers, switching to PC gaming is a bit daunting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it's just the simplicity of a PlayStation. You plug it in, you sign into your account, job done. There's nothing else you need to do. Whereas with a PC, there's a million and one different things you can do to a PC. And I think that's what probably throws people off a bit. And I think there's maybe a bit of misinformation as well. It's like, oh my God, I want to get a PC for DayZ, but I don't have €1,000 to spend. When you don't need to spend that much money, you can go get up and running for the same price as a console if you really wanted to. But yeah, I think it's just the simplicity definitely makes it a lot better.
What was it like for you, Cluck, switching over?
Well, I basically just bought it for DayZ, so I just got in. I'd had a Steam account for a little while. I'd had a Mac for a while, but you can't really at that time you couldn't really do a whole lot of gaming on a Mac.
Yeah.
So I have a pretty old Steam account. I signed in, bought DayZ, downloaded it, immediately went to the community tab and started playing Deer Isle, because by that time I'd started watching content, and that's the map I wanted to try.
It's there's a lot of people who have fallen into that getting basically into PC gaming because of DayZ. It's at the time when they released it for the consoles, you couldn't play it, so you could only watch it, and it was just one of those games that really did allow for people to I've got to take the next step and get into it, but technically it can be quite daunting. There's all the different parts, and especially if you go online and you get the wrong person giving you advice, they'll tell you need the top of the line stuff, and it does kind of future proof you, but you don't need to. Like I'm having some issues with my PC at the moment. It struggles playing DayZ, Rust, games like that. But general day-to-day stuff is not an issue. But you can go crazy too far with some of the items, and especially when you don't have a techie background with the hardware and understand, the RAM and the ROM and the RIM and the RAM and the RUM and all the rest of those bloody terms. It gets a bit daunting, doesn't it, Cluck?
Can Can be, yeah. I will say though, when you have the motivation of wanting to do X, Y, or Z on your computer, it can help you kind of accelerate the process. And I won't tell you how many screens I have connected to my computer now, but it's well more than one. And yeah, and and eventually my journey took me to wanting to make my own map. Got a lot of inspiration from all the great maps out there, and so that was a rabbit hole I'm still currently in. But yeah, I've learned a lot, and it's pretty much all thanks to this game that we all love.
I'm being called a deserter in stream because I've been playing Rust. But mate, we've said it here time and time again, haven't we, Mark? There's nothing wrong with branching out and trying other stuff just to keep you fresh, because you what is it? Dips and valleys and
get burnt out on
this
and stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah, and if you're not feeling it, don't keep playing something you're not feeling at the time. You'd end up hating it. We see that all the time, Marks. People who, they turn on it and it's just, oh god.
Yeah, I've had things like that as well, where you just can't even look at the game sometimes because you are just so burnt out, and there's nothing better than like getting away and just playing something else. And yeah, it's always good to do. I do it every once in a while. There's nothing wrong with it.
And do you play any other games, Cluck, or is it pretty much just DayZ?
I kind of looked at my Steam account the other day because I was curious how many games I'd played in the last year, and I think between 3 or 4 other games I'd had a combined 3 hours. So I can't say that I've done a whole lot over the past year other than DayZ, but I spent a lot of time in Terrain Builder, and that's kind of it's almost like a 3D Lego set for. It's kind of a mind expander, and when I don't feel like I'm in the mood to do that, I'll just go find a server and play a few hours. So I kind of consider it 2 different things. So I kind of vary my time like that now.
Hitman's got a good point there. Getting burnt out on DayZ is normal, but I find playing another map or a new map helps to bring you back into DayZ. 100%. 100%. And probably again, kind of tying in with what you said about with this game, but being for more older and more mature people, it's a game of patience, DayZ. So you need to have the right mindset to want to play DayZ, don't you, Cluck?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Just earlier, I was just doing a little play test on a local server I'd set up, and I had the debug monitor on so I could watch my health by percent, and I had myself down to 9% flashing health, and I was within a couple 100 yards of getting to where I needed to get some water and get myself going. And that, to me, that's just as thrilling as any other gaming experience I think I could have. And that's what keeps me coming back.
Yeah, definitely.
It's an amazing game.
So many options with DayZ, like you can get the PvP rush crazy if you want. You can get the PvE and it's just very relaxed. You can get the vanilla vibe, the mod. So many different ways you can do it, and that's also great as well. It caters to pretty much every player and player base out there.
It does. There's so many different ways to play it, from the PvE to the PvP to the PvPvE. I always love that one. It's like people are taking the piss out of it. Like, what are you? Are you PvP or are you PvE? You can't have both. Well, you can. You just zones and all the rest of it, and you play as per the way that server is and what you feel. What's your preference, Cluck? What sort of service do you generally go for?
Well, if I see too many acronyms in a description, I kind of give it a swerve, but I like the PvE experience, but if it says no KOS, I tend to avoid it because I feel like that's integral, and the most exciting part of it is that at any time somebody could get the drop on you. Even if there's only 2 people in the server, it could happen. And just knowing that it could happen is 90% of it.
100%. That constant threat of dying, and but one of the things I do find that goes against DayZ is that it's not a simple game to load up your own server. It is once you understand the basics of it. Scale Speeder, who's in chat's got some great videos showing people how they can host their own server, but there's no in the menu launch single player server that does it all for you, creates a server. So it's a hard game for people who aren't prepared to take those hits that we all took when you first start playing, isn't it, Marks?
Yeah, it's definitely something you need to learn. And I've just, even when you were thinking about that, even thinking about back in the day, in the Arma days, when you had to try and load the DayZ mod, and holy, like the amount of tutorials you'd have to go through on YouTube, and if you just done something wrong, it wouldn't work. And it is easier nowadays, but again, it isn't as easy. But like you said, Scale Speeder has, I've recently used his videos again to set up a server, and it's so straightforward and so simple when you just watch it step by step that you can't go wrong. And it's great.
Yeah, Scale Speeder was my first guide when I was trying to get my Nitrado server and files to work. Without him, I probably would have just hit a roadblock and maybe quit drawing.
Is there anything he doesn't have a video on?
I don't think so.
I just don't think so. I think he's a video on pretty much everything. And I think he's even updating them now. I think he's making a video updating how to create a server or something like that as well, which is always good.
Stop it, I'm blushing. You're not blushing, mate. You're not blushing. You're sitting there eating your fat boy Greg sausage roll with the Yellow King sitting on your desk, hugging that bottle of Iron Brew for Lad. And I actually went and bought some Iron Brews. I'm quite partial to it. Have you actually had any more since Prague Barks? Because you said you'd never really had it. You haven't? It wasn't your thing?
No. It was nice to try it, but no, I definitely don't think it was my thing.
Cup of tea.
I prefer we've Lucasade over here as well. It's more of a glucose drink. I think it's a bit similar but different to Iron Brew. I prefer that over Iron Brew personally now.
But no. So what's your how long have you been playing it for now, Cluck?
I guess including the off and on phase, I guess since 2020, and very heavily over the past 2.5 years. I think I was part of a server, and I kind of just stuck with that for probably a good 9 months. And I was playing a lot then. It was a good community for a while, and I really enjoyed it. And it was set on Banov, which made that become one of my top maps. And I probably know Banov as well as I know any other map, giving exception for the recent updates.
Banov is, I remember before Banov released Marks when we were doing the show, and I used to say all the time, oh man, I really want a map of a big city and all the rest of it. And everyone used to say, can't be done, it'll crash a server. And then Cabello releases Banov, and it's got what was, I think, at the time, and potentially still is one of the biggest cities on a map. And it did make sense to me. The map is massive. It's all landmass. It's all playable area. And I never really noticed the performance hit. Did you?
Gotta be honest, I've never played Banov.
Oh, dude, you missed it out.
It right now. I haven't played it, but I've heard good things about it, so maybe I need to check it out sometime.
You do. Find a good server that's populated, because that is one of the one of the weak points of it. To be fair, every map has its pros and its cons, but because the map is so big, Cluck, it can get a bit lonely at times, can't it?
I consider that a benefit, not a negative.
I do
point,
too,
personally.
But I know a lot of people want the map to be like Grand Central Station. So it's massive. It's like a massive map.
It's probably a good I'd assume.
Yeah, definitely a good vehicle map.
Yeah.
It is brilliant. It is brilliant. Like if you need to, I've talked about it before, but go watch that video on my mate Prestige's channel, where we did a convoy from the tower in the top left to the tower in the bottom right. Made an event of it. Got a bunch of people. I think there was like 20 of us. So it was an absolute shit fight. Vigilante Gamer did a video on it too, herding cats. But part of it was, we had a convoy with 2 trucks, 3 or 4 cars. We had our own
remember that
JFK
video.
moment where one of the guys got taken out in the back of the car, and it was all caught on camera, and it was absolutely brilliant. That is one of the best points about it, because it's a fairly flat map too. Not massively hilly, which I don't mind as well. You don't need to have every map doesn't need to have massive mountains. It's got a few areas in it, but it is great for vehicles. That was a really good point. I'd never really considered that, Cluck.
Yeah, actually, when the server I played on for a while had a road rally event, which was really fun. Actually, I helped with the event. That was my introduction to admin tools. But it was really good. There were different stages, and it played really well because you could go off road quite a bit and still get to the destination.
Absolutely brilliant map. It's got the one of those. Thanks facility for the raid, buddy. But yeah, it's got one of those little, like the events. Something that if you need an objective, there is some stuff undergrounds and all the rest of it, and a bit of lore with the map. So yeah, I'm a fan of it. I need to go back and play it again, but I've got to fix whatever's going wrong with my PC first. But yeah. What other maps do you enjoy playing, Cluck?
I really like Namalsk.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. I've been playing Namalsk a little bit, and with the added music in vanilla now, it aligns Namalsk with the vanilla game so much more. It really kind of trips me out sometimes. It gives you kind of the same vibes.
Yeah, it's nice. A lot of people hated on the fact that the music was coming in, but I think it's great. Like, I have it enabled. When you're just looting a map, whether it's in the rain or when sun's setting or something, and that music kicks in as you're going through a town, it adds that level of.
You just made me think of that meme that's everywhere at the moment when the Doom music kicks in. I love that.
It just adds that level of. I can't think of the word off the top of my head, but it just adds another level to it.
Ambiance.
Ambience. Speaking of Namalsk, Goodcluck, what's your thoughts on Frostline? Are you going to buy it?
Oh, definitely. The amount of hours I've gotten out of DayZ, I probably owe them money. Is my personal feeling on it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm gonna have to play some Namalsk soon now as well. I want to kind of be ready in a way and kind of learn the cold again, even though it's going to be a little bit different. But just so I'm not going into Frostline straight away and dying of frostbite constantly or whatever they'll have in. So need to get used to that again.
Yeah, it's definitely what it turned out to be is not what I thought it would be, but that didn't take anything away from me having high expectations and looking forward to what it's going to be.
Yeah, those dev blogs. The more dev blogs they release,
it's been good seeing those again.
The better. Yeah, they're cool. Hopefully they keep it up after Frostline's out. It'd be nice, like for maybe updates or something, or I don't know how they'll work it. But every dev blog that comes out, I keep saying it, but they keep getting better and better, and they show off more stuff. So it's good. No complaints so far.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you do something for a while, you start to slowly get better at it. Except for me and PvP, I just get worse as time goes on. But yeah, it's great seeing them. I still remember the old status reports back in development days and how good they were.
Yeah, it's nice to see them back, and it gets kind of hyped as well. It builds a bit of hype, and I'm glad I've been able to make the videos on those dev maps, because I know not everybody reads them, and there's a lot of people who wouldn't even know they exist, and so you make those videos, and a lot of the console players are very, very happy about it and very hyped. So it's good to see.
Yeah, I can't imagine the excitement for console players.
It's going to be big.
Now, I'm about to start a giveaway in chat, folks, for 7 games from the Humble Bundle choice. So, usual deal, the command will come in, ! raffle space, and the amount of tickets you want to buy. Usual rules apply. Cloudbot's on. You can check your points by typing ! points and buy as many tickets as you want. Channel members get a 100 ticket bonus just for being legends who support the channel. I also did notice that some of you who are members on the channel don't have it connected to your Discord, your YouTube account. So make sure you do that, because that gets you access to where all the real cool kids hang out. Hey, Marks, in the members only area.
Definitely.
We're actually pretty lame in there, but yeah. So let me start this now. Got 30 minutes. Everyone can enter. But yeah, no, it definitely is a game like the. We've talked a bit. We showed that video the other week, Cluck, where people were using NVIDIA filters to change the game and that, but it definitely does have an appeal for older gamers, generally just because of the patience factor that the majority of DayZ servers have. You've got the faster paced ones, but for the most part, and like you said before when talking about Banov, you don't mind being a bit lonely and that on the map, but that definitely takes a special type of gamer, doesn't it, Cluck?
Yeah, it's just not having a game on rails. Once you experience that, at least for me personally, I find it hard to go back to a game where you only have one path and you're just trying to find the best or fastest way through it. There is an appeal for some of the games depending on the subject matter, but yeah, nothing compares.
It is just it's mind numbing, and it take once if it resonates with you, Marks, you'll be hooked on DayZ, won't you? There's nothing quite like it.
Yeah, no, there isn't, and like I get some slack sometimes for just playing churners over and over and over again, and not maybe exploring as much as I want, but I love that map, and I've been playing it now for 10 years, and I still love that map, and I'm still even finding sometimes secret spots that I haven't known about.
Yep.
And
yep.
There's so many ways you can just keep that map refreshing and stuff, but it's great. It's great.
It is. It's a classic. It's classic Coke. The original formula. It just works. I actually just found and shared in the Discord, and I also shared on the YouTube channel a video by, what was his name, Viper10, and he did a video talking about all of the armor lore of Chernarus. And it was about 20 minutes, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And if you're looking for some inspiration for a map or what you're going to do with your version of Chernarus, I highly recommend you go watch it, because there is some of that stuff still in the game. You've got the berets and stuff like that, but it was actually good for me, because no, the Goodcluck hasn't given us any links, Scales Peter. He's a very private guy. He did send Marks his OnlyFans, because Marks is into that sort of stuff. But other than that, he likes to keep it on the down low for now. But where was I going? I got distracted then. People are buying tickets. I'm just seeing in the chat there. But yeah, it's. I've completely forgot. Yeah, you derailed my train of thought. I'm having my old man. Cincinnati. Okay, so we know I'm not having a stroke. Well, Marks is into OnlyFans. Yeah, don't you know it? He's got his own one.
How do you think I'm so rich? I make so much off OnlyFans.
But yeah, no, it's. Oh, well, yeah, we'll talk about Chernarus and the lore.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things he talked about was apparently in the armor lore, there was a massive mine laying part of it. And I've always complained about the mines in the game, but it's interesting. And, bearing in mind that, what's his name? Sasquatch guy just has those dynamic mine events for his map that he's made, which is fantastic. And, that says to me, there's rather than just having them lying around in barracks and that, where they just get turned, it'd be great if someone could make something, dynamic mine events for churnerous. Because I think he talked in there like in the law they say it's going to be about 10 years before they can remove all the minefields that were laid during the war and all the rest of it. And it was like I love that little bit of extra law, and it adds to the beauty of Churner's Cluck. That if you look into it, there is some lore and some story. There's that paper with the article about bananas that a lot of people don't know what that's about, but it's worth checking.
Yeah, I did see it. I have to confess I haven't read it yet, but you've inspired me to make sure I do so, because every little piece I read a little bit back about the Arma lore and how Chernarus is Black Russia, and just kind of just putting pieces together that weren't there and looking at the big map that you can see in the schools. And it's really a trip for something to go that deep.
Definitely is. Did you see DayZ are actually on a trip at the moment?
Yes.
In the real life Churnerus. They were at, where was it, Starry one day, they were at Gorka the next, they went to one of the
How
Red
good is Scotty's
Barns.
moustache, by the way?
Yeah, it's mad. I saw it there the other day. I was like, what the hell? It actually kind of suits him as well. I think it's crazy.
Let me bring it up. Here we go. We're going to test the internet gods. Probably risky after the big outage we had. But that's the team there. Getting ready to head off. Who's that sexy man right there? I wonder who that could be, Marks.
Wonder who could that be? Does his name begin with an S and end in Eve? Maybe? No.
Maybe. And that's an iconic view that everyone who knows the IRL locations would know. But I just love when they do something like this. Some survivors got here before us, and Bitcoin ad. Isn't that awesome? No spark plug.
Oh, wow. It's actually ad. That's cool.
Subcastle. They've got the cups there.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone remembers that from Livonia.
Man, that's some view.
The classic red barn.
Really cool. They're huge as all those barns. Bloody huge.
And it's well worth following them. I don't know whether they're putting it on anywhere else other than Twitter, but it's nice to see them doing things like that, and that the team actually want to go and do that sort of stuff, because for those of us who are still playing DayZ after all these years, Cluck, it's a bit more than just a game. It's there's the whole community side to it, and it's nice to know that the people behind the game are still as passionate about that stuff as well as some of us are, and they live there. They can go and do this whenever they want.
Yeah, it's something that I don't think you'd see with a lot of other dev teams. That like a lot of the things that they do, you just don't see that in the gaming industry, and it's pretty impressive, and it's another check mark in the box that they hit for why it's so great.
100%, absolutely 100%. So, you've been working on something yourself, Cluck.
I have, and I've been working on it over and over and over again for almost a year and a half now. But I do have a map project in the works. I've actually made 2 previous maps that I ended up hating before I finished them. So I went back to square one. A lot of mistakes were made. A lot of things I didn't do the right way, or I did the fast way.
But stop for a sec there. I've talked about this once before, but the tone of what you said it, I think you're old enough and wise enough to know this yourself, but the tone of what you said it reinforces in people's minds that mistakes are a bad thing. Mistakes are not a bad thing. Mistakes are a learning opportunity. It's only a bad thing if you don't learn from your mistakes. Embrace mistakes, making mistakes, folks, because you find something out and you work out that didn't work this time. If you make a mistake in a life-threatening situation, you're fucked up. But that's why you make these mistakes while you're learning, so that when you get to those situations, you're more prepared. So it sounds like you've made a lot of mistakes and you've learned a lot. How's it going now for you, Cluck?
It's going well. It's The map itself, I don't want to really drop the actual name I'm going to give it, just so somebody else doesn't put a mod up in the store and take my name. But
That's a good idea.
yeah, I basically, I mean, it could happen. But basically, I went back to the drawing board. I learned what Frostline was going to be. I was excited. I saw some of the new assets, and I went back and I actually am going to make what I thought Frostline was going to be. And it all started with that little snippet of the Traveler, the voice, the little audio file that you put out before you went on your trip. That was the inspiration, and now I planted it as a seed, and now it's growing, and so far so good. I just started working on economy files for the map. I do have to do some more work on the graphics for the mask so that it looks better. But I hope to drop the first version sometime this fall, and I'm going to leave it wide open to that right now because a lot of things could change.
Yeah, definitely. Like it though. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is going to be big.
So anything you can say about, what the location, temperature, sort of stuff's going to be about it? Is it going to be
chose
more
a location
open,
in Serbia.
Ooh.
And I like elevation in a map, so I chose something with a lot of elevation variation. I did make it big because I like a big map. That's one of the reasons I always enjoyed playing Pripyat, was because it was so big that you could get lost for days. And if you died in the north of that map, you weren't getting your things back, and you had a long walk if you had anything stored up there. And I don't know, I really enjoyed that. But I think one of the ideas that I had to make it a little different and maybe a little more appealing to more players was to spread the spawns out in a circle along the whole edge of the map and have the focus be in the middle, so that you never had to travel the whole map to get to the most interesting spots.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to see what you get come out with, mate, because, yes, we're a bit spoiled for choice. And, some people say there's too many maps. I don't agree. If you enjoy doing it and you make a good enough product that captures people's imagination, you do you. Even if you're only making it for yourself or editing an existing map. Like, there's so many different versions of Churners out there where people rework the Northwest Airfield, Northeast Airfield, below the airstrip, and everything in between. So yeah, you do you. How have you gone about learning these skills, Cluck?
Well, I mean, as with probably everybody else that made a map, maybe aside from John McClane and some of the early ones, it was Grandpa's channel and his How to Make a Map in 2 hours. I mean, when you go and search that, that's the first thing that shows up, and it lays a lot of groundwork and at least points you in the right direction.
I'm really happy that his personal situation's gotten a lot better now. He's got a regular place to stay and all the rest of it, and because he does do a lot for the mapping community. He's like the what Don Sibley was to console, he is to mappers.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no, it's great.
We should probably, if you give me a sec, I should probably share his Discord link. It's not called Grandpa. It's at Monty DayZ Academy. That's it. DayZ Academy. There we go. Got it.
Nice.
Invite people. Copy. There we go, folks. Just put it in chat for you. So if you're interested in finding out more about mapping, highly recommend you go check that one. What's the vibe like in there with everyone trying to help each other, Cluck?
It's really good. I mean, I think it's they set a high bar, which is fair because it's a lot of work to get to a place where you actually have something functional, and they often have people, and same with me, you go, you search things, you read it yourself, you're going to understand it better. You can't be spoon fed this information and turn it into anything. It won't work. You have to be willing to mess up 100 times to hit it right the one time, and that's what fuels you to go on to the next step.
Definitely.
What Don simply is to console the Godfather. And then look, going back to here's where my ADHD comes in, but going back to what we were talking about before, mix things up. Don, who is the Godfather to many for console, he floats away. He goes off, and there was that phase there where he was doing his TikTok streams and going viral, Mark.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he loves streaming his bloody what's it called again? Fortnite sort of stuff. Yeah. You do what makes you happy. Don't do what you feel you have to do. That's the secret to happiness, folks. Being able to do what makes you happy as your hobby. For work, you've got to do what pays the bills. But when it comes to your hobbies, make sure you're enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying it, you're either a sadomasochist, so send me a DM if you're into that shit, or you just you need to sort your priorities and go hobby. Yep. So where are you at with it? Is it able to be play tested by people? Do you need people to help you with that, or?
I've loaded up just into a local server right now. I'm still making a lot of adjustments. Sometimes you add assets and you want to make sure they look right, and it's hard to get the player perspective in Terrain Builder. So I'm not quite there yet, but I'm going to say just conservatively it'd at least be 2 or 3 more months before I would upload 0.1. But definitely then, I'd love it if everybody played it. Like you were talking about earlier, I think one of the harder lessons for me was to make it something that I want to play, and then just hopefully other people like it instead of trying to make it to fit this type of player and that type of player. It just that you just run into a wall, which is why I'm on my 3rd major project at this point.
Yeah,
but I'll definitely drop info into Discord.
I have to interrupt here. Yeah, you just saw me laugh. I say DM me if you're into that. Have a guess who DM'd me, Marks. Of all the people you've seen in chat, you know who DM'd me.
Facility.
Yes. 100% Facility. 100%. I love that guy. I do. He's awesome. Good sense of humor. But man, let us know when you're ready to showcase it, and we'll spread the word for you as well, mate. Whether we do it in our spotlight at the end of the show, or get you back on to showcase it or whatever. You let us know, mate. You've been a good member of the community. Just make sure you do give Facility prio.
100%.
Now, speaking of maps and that, the final Bitterroot playtest, have you had a go at it, Marks?
I have not. I haven't played that map.
I tried to, but my computer crashed again. So, yeah.
I think it's gone over well so far. Facility's been playing a lot of it now, so he'd be the best person to probably answer that. But I've heard good things about it. I haven't tried it myself. It just seems like when you go on there, it's very, very PvP. Like it's a lot of KOS. You're trying to adventure kind of a map in a testing phase, and you just get shot out of nowhere. So that kind of put me off a little bit. But when it comes to full release, I'll check it out again.
That's a lot of DayZ in a nutshell, though, isn't it, Cluck? A lot of people just like to shoot.
Yeah, for sure. I respect it. When it happens for the 5th or 6th time when you can't get out of the spawn area, though, it tends to wear on your nerves a little bit. But I'll take it. I play a lot in the middle of the night, so I tend to get into the lower pop time of day for any of the US servers, at least. And even for the EU servers I'm on really early in the morning, I can kind of tell when everybody over there starts to wake up because those pops start climbing. But yeah, I always respect KOS. You have to. If you hate it, you're gonna hate the game.
And unless you are on one of the really sweaty servers, a lot of the time, KOS, as much as it sucks, you just you got to remember you're not the main character, and you don't know what was going on in that person's mind. They could have just been shot at by someone earlier, and they've been following them. They could have been having just a bad day at work or at home, and they're just not feeling like talking to someone. They could be on death's doorstep and just need your shit and can't take the chance that you're going to be a nice person. There's so many reasons why people shoot. And yes, sometimes they're just a dirty KOS piece of shit. They're not. They're not. They're just playing a game. Get over yourself. Some people are, but the majority of people just are playing a game to have fun. Or there's some other reason that you just don't know. And think about, unless you're you've never KOS before, which is as rare as rock and horse shit. I know it sucks when you die, particularly when you're inland and you're geared and all the rest, or you just found that thing you were looking for. But you've always got to try to remember there's another side to the story. And I've been guilty of this myself. What about you, Marks?
Yeah, I've KOS before. I don't mind it. Obviously, I do it myself from time to time. If somebody comes up to me and is talking, and even if they're armed or whatever, and they're friendly and waves their hand and stuff, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, sure. But I'll have my guard up and stuff. But no, we've all done it, right? At the end of the day, it can be difficult though. Like going back to the Bitterroot type of thing, like when so he obviously released different parts of the map in stages. So he'd have one playtest for kind of one area of the map, and then he'd do for another. And so like everybody's kind of concentrated on that new area, and then when you get there and you just instantly die without being able to check it out, that frustrates you, or at least it frustrates me anyway. But
I will say it is more frustrating when you are on a play test of a server, and you're testing it, and everyone's just running around shooting. But at the same time, like Hitman says, DayZ rule number 1: trust no one. So unless it is a enforced friendly zones and safe zones, you've got to consider that. I have footage of Marks murdering an innocent man that I was talking to.
That's happened more than once, I have to admit.
But I'm just happy that it's finally coming to an end for Maddie. It's been a long process, but overall, I think it's been a good one. It's been we've never seen someone release a map in this style, and I know some people weren't fans of it, but I personally liked his way of doing it. He marketed it well. A lot of people can learn stuff from it.
Yeah, I have massive respect.
It's good. It'll be interesting to see now if he gives a date for when he'll actually fully release it onto the workshop. That'll be interesting to see. I'd assume a few servers will pick it up and see what goes from there.
No, it's been good. It's been good. Now, something else. We had a discussion point in the Discord, which generated a lot of really, really interesting responses. Now, I do think some people saw that and thought, oh, boy, he's going to go on a rant or something like that. But I found the video from another channel that was talking about it, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting topic. I'll go watch it because I was just interested in what the guy's opinion with it. Now, I've got my personal views, but I'll save them and wait. But what did you think? Did you watch the video, Marks? This is where he says no, he never watches the videos I share.
On the streamer one, was it?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Have streamers ruined gaming? I
haven't, but I can kind of speak on it. I suppose being a streamer in a way and stuff, you have your own opinions on it, right?
Yeah.
It's a yes and no answer.
Yeah, it
definitely is a yes and no answer. It's
what
come back to me. There was something going on. I think there might be about to be a shooting or something. I'm going to mute my mic and hopefully not die. Somebody else responds. Something's going on outside. I don't know what the fuck.
We're going to end up on live leaks, folks. That's some worrying. There was some some strong language in the background there, then, Cluck.
Yeah, I caught that. It reminded me of a situation that might need to be de-escalated.
Yeah. I hope everything's okay. But what did you watch the video, Cluck? What were your thoughts on it?
I did. I think that in a lot of ways, just generally speaking, as a preface, I think that DayZ being what it is can avoid it to a certain extent just because the amount of variables you can change in your playing experience. But speaking more specifically, my answer was no. I think that you are only going to get out of streaming or streamers and their content and the game what you want from it. You could go a little deep in one direction or another. Do they inspire trends? Absolutely, but
Yeah.
I think that you can avoid that, and you may not end up with exactly what you want just because of the trends if you're trying to play the newest hottest thing. But no, I think if anything, streaming massively benefited the game and a lot of games. But I think DayZ avoids a lot of the negative impacts of that just because of what it is.
There's a lot of people who just can't handle playing it for the reasons we talked about earlier. If you are a desperate PvP sweaty Chad boy, which is often said to be the ones who ruin a lot of these sort of games, but it's hard to do that in DayZ unless you're playing on certain types of high loot servers. The base game, unless you're a god tier, can dominate and destroy every single person, you're going to eventually end up back on the coast. So the worst can really happen on a massive scale is if someone starts spawn camping, and taking out everyone as their freshies and all the rest of it. That's probably the lowest of the low in DayZ. But when it comes to just pure PvP inland, no, there's unless someone's doing dodgy stuff, it's a very balanced playing field. I 100% agree, though, that they can influence the trends. And it's something that we've talked about. And one of the reasons why base building is not that popular with a lot of the streamers is it's hard to do as a content creator for DayZ, isn't it, Marks?
Yeah, especially. So base building while in a live stream is basically impossible. Can't be done. If you're on the video, it's better, obviously, because you can kind of record that video ahead of time. So by the time the video's out, it doesn't matter if your base gets raided or not because you've completed your objective. But when it comes to streaming, like I've done it before, I've built a base. I'm like, okay, good. I can log off now for the night. Come on the following day, and it is gone. There's no trace of it left. So yeah, it can be quite difficult at times. It's difficult to say the least.
Especially when you
start
talking about official. Cluck. Official is very brutal for building a base, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've played on servers, and especially in my early days of playing, whether it was a community or an official, like a max pop of 5 players, you'll still build a base, and 2 days later it'll be gone. So, I mean, I can't imagine if you're actually if you're giving clues as to where you're doing it and what you're doing. Like, it's just not a tenable plan.
I did. There was one comment there from Michael, one of our regulars, that I did love, though. If anything, in my opinion, games with service is ruining gaming. Games that have been out for 6 years or more are responsible for over half of all playtime, and that number is going up instead of down. Fortnite, GTA Online, Counter-Strike's another one. And others are taking up so much of gamers' time so that they're just not buying it nearly as many new games. It's hurting the industry overall. As for streaming, the negative can be again related to time. Time spent watching. According to one study, time spent watching video games is negatively related to time spent playing. He said then the funny part was my girlfriend asked what I was doing, and I told her I was answering this question. So she answered back, so streamers ruined DayZ, did porn ruin sex? Oh, I love this woman, is what he said. And that got quite a few laughing responses. But it was not a bad analogy, in my opinion, Marks.
Yeah, definitely wasn't. It's such a tricky question to answer, right? Because without streamers and stuff like that, games wouldn't get promoted as much, but somebody mightn't see a game games wouldn't get promoted as much. But then there is the sweaty side of it. I don't think for DayZ, I think mainly for Call of Duty or your Fortnites or stuff, that's where stuff gets very this is all true, by the way, I swear to God. But yeah, it's it can make it sweaty. Like, that's an issue in kind of COD at the moment, is that all these streamers are making all these classes and showing off new movements and stuff, and the average player, it makes it very difficult. But DayZ, I don't know, because there's so many different ways you can play the game, that way. But it's a mix. It's a mix. There's no right or wrong answer to it, I don't think.
Read.
Yes, there was junkies or something fighting outside my window for something.
That's hilarious,
Great.
mate. That is absolutely hilarious.
Never ends.
Where is this comment? I think it was up near the start, because it was actually quite a long thread. It was really good to see people just getting in and just.
Oh.
My God, my internet is just being absolutely insane. Okay, so give me 1 second. Where is it? Okay, it was the Admiral. The Admiral who put a good comment in there. To be honest, the whole streamers ruin things comes into multiple subsections. Competitiveness, increased competitiveness. This is something I've seen that streamers have made everything competitive, which, to be honest, is dumb as fuck. And I'm not going to lie, normally said by the older generation with rose-tinted glasses. As a PC player that started on Battlefield 1942 as the first FPS, I can confidently say the amount of competitive and toxicity is exactly the same as it was 20 plus years ago. In fact, I'd say in the modern era, people are far less competitive and toxic because streaming is more common, so you have more accountability. TLDR, I see people getting called the N-word for playing like shit just as much as I did 20 years ago. Yeah, it's still said. Absolutely still said. Community. I think increased toxicity in a community is not inherent to the streamer. It's inherent to the popularity a streamer can bring to a game. And with those numbers comes more people, and more people brings more shitheads. These people probably would be toxic regardless if they came from a stream or just found the game themselves. On the flip side of that, with a tight community, there is inherent gatekeeping by old hats that think just because they played the Arma 2 mod, that makes their opinion somehow more valid. TLDR, people in general are mouth-breathing tards, regardless of how they got here. Then he says, this is the part I love. This is the part I absolutely love, which should get a chuckle from you too. However, I can say streamers and YouTubers fucking ruined YouTube titles. I swear, if I see one more 1,000-hour DayZ player does X, or I build a secret base here, and just leaves it at that. It's a very well said argument there, Cluck, in my opinion, that it's not a simple and I get why the guy called the video what he did, because it generates clicks and all the rest of it, but it's kind of why I worded it the way I did, because I wanted people to see that and then give me their honest opinion. The shorter the statement was, the less confusion around it, it's the only issue I have is what we talked about, Cluck, that the only problem with the streamers is, and Mark said it, it's so hard to do many of the aspects of DayZ as a streamer because you just get stream sniped.
Yeah, that's true. I do think that a lot of the streamers do a great job of working through that or past that and really taking full advantage of the aspects of the game that can be streamed on a day-to-day basis. Though I would say that just for pure gameplay, like I learned a lot of like the game mechanics and tactics and best ways to do X, Y, and Z from watching streamers of all different types. Like, I found the game on my own, but I really discovered it through streamers. Shout out to Baby Nades. He was my first streamer I watched a DayZ video of, and it was the algorithm got a hold of that, and that I got fed many, many, many more.
Yeah, once you click on one, then it just doesn't stop.
Now, just drew the first winner. Mackay, you have won the first game. Send me a DM and I'll send you the link to redeem it. Once that one's done, we will draw the next one. But yeah, no, it was a good conversation, and I like putting things out there that just get people to discuss an issue, because it's never or it's rarely as clear cut as people think, is it?
No, it isn't. It's there's so many, and everybody has an opinion about it, and not, good thing about them is everybody can have them, but there's no right answer or wrong answer to it, and I suppose as well with the streaming world and that type of stuff, it's constantly evolving so quick and doing all this that there's always new trends coming up. Like the moment with the X $1,000 player or this base in this location. You have all that stuff as well, which, by the way, I've never once made a video with either of those titles, so praise me. But yeah,
and the fact checkers are now going to your YouTube channel to check.
You'll be surprised.
No, the most you ever did was that was your clickbait title. Once Mark's worked out how to get a character to do that, that appeared in so many videos. Yeah, no.
Don't do it anymore though.
No, you should, mate. It was funny. It was a good little meme.
Yeah, but got to move on with the times.
You do. Now, Cobra said he will be back next week. So once again, no Cobra spotlight. He said since he retired from his job, he's been the busiest he's ever been. I went, mate, retirement, you're doing it wrong. But we will have him back. He said he's even been neglecting his own channel. He's just had that much going on. So I'm just happy for him. It sounds like, if he's busy, he's obviously doing stuff he wants to be doing. So I hope he is. But yeah. And no Helkiana this week. She's taking a break. So we are pretty much down to near the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Marks, have you got anything in the community you would like to spotlight?
I don't think there's been too much this week, but we were talking about it, so I'll give it to I'm going to give it to Scale Speeder. I know it's been mentioned more than once, but
yeah, there's a reason.
There's a reason for it,
Yeah.
If you're ever looking, just anything tutorial wise for DayZ, whether we setting up a server, setting up mods, the basics, even I think it's controls and everything. Like, he has everything there that you need, and I know he's updating stuff at the moment, and it is very simple to follow. And every time I set up a new local server, I always watch his video. It just gives you those pointers, and they're so easy, and just you can click through them, and they're just perfect. Definitely worth checking out, and I'd assume he'll have more kind of tutorial videos of whatever comes out when Frostline comes out, and how to add that to a server, and all of this stuff is per usual. So it's going to be cool,
What have we got there from Always? That was an interesting point they made before. Can we just acknowledge that, DayZ today is the best it's ever been, and anyone who claims the mod is better is speaking. That's my honest opinion. The mod was better in only one aspect, and that was purely for the novelty of what it was at the time. There was nothing like it, and it just the rose-tinted glasses come from the fact that people were just like, "Oh my God, what is this?" And it just exploded. And there's a certain nostalgia with, knowing that, the likes of Shroud, that was the first game he ever streamed. Sacriel, who's massive now. Deadly Slob, who's massive now as well. All of these people were around back in those days. So it was absolutely awesome times, but the times have moved on, and there are some aspects that I will, agree can be argued that aren't as good as they were. But overall, Cluck, the game is absolutely brilliant.
I can't argue that point.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever watch any of the old original stuff?
I have to confess, I only went as far back as when Baby Nates was putting out a lot of his content, and I kind of only gone forward from there. There's just so much to go through. I mean, I don't think I would ever get done. So no, I can't say that I've seen a whole lot. I've seen some earlier versions of the game in streams, but not back from the original.
Yep.
It has certainly come a long way. And still improving.
Now, I'm just picking the last of the prizes. Chris, are you in the Discord? Let me check. We've got a Chris. I'll just write your name. And then the last one, I'm just doing an announcement in the announcements channel of the winners in the order so that I can remember who won what and all the rest of it. But yeah. Okay, we will quickly do the 60-second community spotlight. Just waiting for that last winner to pop up. Winner picked. Oh. Okay, we'll have to come back to that one. Looks like I might have one game left over at the end because only 6 people entered, and all 6 are in the list. So we'll have one game left. Okay, now let's jump back to the 1 second. Okay. Episode 196, Community Spotlight. Let me bring up the banner so I know where to find it. The 60-second DayZ Independent Calendar by iRoadie for events. Let's go. True Colours. After an incredible weekend of True Colours events, next Sunday is the edition for those highly motivated players. Well, that's been happening this weekend, and it absolutely rocked, didn't it, Mark? So some amazing footage there,
yeah.
but we've also got Cerberus, Project Sub-Zero by Chimney Light, B-Watt and Dr. Dreas, a monthly competitive solo battle royale event on the Moles. 30 solo players, 2 winners, last man standing and most kills. At the end of the season, the winners of each event will fight for the final championship. Next Sunday is Season 6, the last event before the big time. And find all the details, as always, in the Independent DayZ Event Calendar Discord. And we've got a link in the our community as well to them as well. So go check them out. It's great to have a central place where you can find all this sort of stuff out, Mark, because there's so much happening. And please, if you're aware of something, put it in there. It doesn't just need to be iRoadie. Yeah, we're doing this because we want more to come out of all these amazing communities that are doing. You know, if it's just your local server that you want to try and help get some numbers on, if you know of something, just give us a brief rundown of it and a link that we can share in the Discord so people who are interested can check it out as well. That's why we're doing this. Okay, what else have we got? Individual spotlights. Now, did you do yours just before, Mark, or was that more of a community spotlight? Or is there something else you'd like to shout out this week?
I don't think so. I think I'll leave it at that for this week. I'll have a look. I'll definitely have something for next week. I'll keep my eyes open.
Yep. What about yourself, Cluck? Anything you would like to shout out this week, mate?
You don't hear his name mentioned a whole lot, so maybe I'll just shout him out here. He definitely doesn't play the style of game I play, but I always enjoy Barbarius' videos. I think he produces really nice videos, and it, like I said, definitely not my style, but a good watch nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. He's one of the very few DayZ creators I'm actually subscribed to, so his videos should be fun. Very nice person as well. I'll get a link to his most recent video. I'll put it in the chat for anybody who's interested. Actually, I haven't seen his most recent video yet.
Now, I have got a interesting one for you all. It is not DayZ related at all, but give me a hell yeah in chat if you have watched Band of Brothers.
I haven't watched it.
Cluck, have you watched Band of Brothers?
It's not my cup of tea typically, so no.
No, well, it kind of surprises me that both of you haven't watched it, but I'm certain there's a hell of a lot of other people in the chat who have watched it. And for those who have, you may be familiar with this guy, Albert Blythe. This is the actor. That's the real life guy there who played his character in the movie, or not in the movie, in the TV series. And this is a series based on, you're like me, Hitman. You just finished it for the third time. So what I'm about to tell you is something that may shock you. In episode 3 of Band of Brothers, I can't remember the name of the episode, but let's click on the Wikipedia article. And I want you to notice something here. Years of service, 1942 to 1967. Died, 1967. Now, in the show, Marks, the reason why he featured for one of the main side characters for an episode was he, after something happened, he ended up at the aid station where he was telling the medics that he was blind. Right. And he didn't have any physical injuries or anything like that. And what I've heard it referred to as is a case of hysterical blindness following the fierce fight to capture Carentan. Sorry, that's the name of the episode, Carentan. That's right. And he's in the aid station and he's just saying, I can't see. And the main character of the series, Major Dick Winters, goes up to him, and he's at the aid station because he got wounded or something like that as well, and he's checking on his men, and he sees Blythe there and talks to him. And after he talks to him, he gets better and he goes back into it, and he kind of gets this portrayal as maybe a bit of a coward or something like that. And he then goes back and he's on a patrol and he gets shot, and the show states that he dies. He never recovered from his wounds, and he died in 1948. He's sent back to the US, and that is patently false. Absolutely patently false. I don't know why they did it. The Wikipedia article states that a lot of his colleagues at the time just weren't aware of what actually happened. And even up to when the book was written and then the book was made into the series, it was still commonly believed that this was the case. To me, it just seems like a bit of a fuck around. That, I've lost contact with guys I serve with, and I don't know where they are, but I don't say they're dead. I don't know how they came to this idea that he was dead. I know rumors, furfies, we call them in Australia, are proliferate, but this is a bad one because this guy actually stayed in the military. You can see here his rank. He made the rank of Master Sergeant. That's a pretty impressive achievement. And he served 25 years in the military of his country, including being deployed with, let me scroll down to it, in the Korean War as part of the 187th Airborne Regimental Combat Team, where he was awarded a Bronze Star and a Silver Star for jumping behind enemy lines surrounded by a Chinese battalion. That's insane. Like, if you know just a little bit about the Korean War, that is a very underrated war. Not like war should be rated, as a cool thing or whatever, but for the sheer brutality, violence, and insanity of it, that was a war that, it left a lot of scars on people, but everyone seems to forget about it. And to know that this guy who they kind of portray as a bit of a coward and then say he died from his wounds and that's pretty much it, then went on and actually served, and he died while still in the military in Germany, sadly, of a perforated ulcer, and died in the intensive care unit. He's buried in Arlington National Cemetery with full military honors. But he left with this side about it. And the way I became aware of it was I've got to thank the YouTube algorithm, because I do like watching little YouTube shorts and Band of Brothers. If you haven't seen it and you do have any interest in military movies and that, I cannot recommend Band of Brothers enough. It's a brilliantly done series. Pacific, not as good, nowhere near as good. But I don't know Hitman. And yes, I know people lose contact with each other, but it's just the fact that someone said he died when he clearly didn't, and he was in the military. And then it can get all the way to first a book. But the book is based on the memories of the members of Easy Company, but then to a TV series by HBO that has the guy kind of shamed almost as a bit of a coward, hysterical blindness. Now, I've shared this in a couple of places because I do think it's important that this be corrected. And I know I've watched it, and someone else in chat said they watched it. I don't recall seeing them having corrected this in any of the editions of the show that are still out there. And I think that is a travesty of justice to his memory. The man had a son, a wife, probably brothers and sisters and all the rest of it. And popular belief has him as a bit of a coward, a bit like the typewriter guy in Saving Private Ryan, who cries on the stairs while his mate gets killed upstairs. Which is a fictional character, so that's fine, But there's a second part to this that I want to talk about, and a lot of people are still probably caught up on the fact that this guy still did break down, and he came good afterwards. So, with his hysterical blindness. Now, it is a recognized sort of condition. It's one of those hard ones where there's no physical thing other than that. So you got to try and guess it. But I do watch a lot of military stuff, obviously having been in the military. And I remember watching a interview with a special ops guy, Marks, and I can't remember if he was SAS or Delta or SEALs or bloody the slopes. What was it called again? The sloped surfaces division of the Secret Service.
Secret Service or whatever.
I'll play a little video for you guys at the end before we close the show. It's hilarious. But he was talking about how, and this is a special ops unit, which have quite lengthy selection processes and a good way of eliminating people who don't cut the mustard. And he said they were in the middle of one of the worst firefights they'd ever been in, and one of his best operators, one of his best mates as well, was side by side. Who would you want by your side? Someone someone who's proven, someone who's reliable. That he said he turned around and his mate was just balled up, like curled up on the ground, kind of rocking sort of thing. And he's like, what the fuck is going on? They won the firefight and got out of there and got him back to base. And they asked him, what happened, mate? And he goes, I don't know. We all like to think that we would be the biggest, bravest, toughest mofo on the block, but sometimes our brains have other ideas, folks. That's basically the whole thing of what PTSD is, and whether that's PTSD from military service or some other majorly traumatic event. So try not to judge. I know it's hard, particularly when there's emotion involved, but try not to judge people who may be viewed as a coward. And I think it's very important in this case here that it's fight, flight, or freeze is exactly it. Some people, they just freeze. And the military has a great way of training people to primarily choose fight as the option, but it can still be overridden. Human instinct is to run in danger. Freeze is when everything is just too much. But in this case, with it actually being based on a real life person, it was just something that as a soldier myself in the past, if you didn't know, I served in Somalia. There's your bingo card. There's your bingo card, Marks. But
Take it off.
I did just think that was an important one to spend a few minutes talking about, because I remember watching it going, oh, geez, that's pretty fucked up, the blind thing. And then he goes back in, and then he died. That's sad. But the reality is very different. The man went on to have a very distinguished military career, Master Sergeant and Purple Heart and the Silver Star and a Bronze Star. And yeah,
it's interesting.
Well done.
Definitely interesting.
Well done, Digger. Thank you for your service, and rest in peace. Your watch is over. So share that story around. It's if you know people who like the show, let them know, because it's kind of sad.
I'll have to tell my brother that, because he was in the army for a bit, and Washband the brothers recently, so he's fascinated by all that stuff. I doubt he knows that, so I'll have to let him know.
Yeah, that's the beauty of a story like Band of Brothers, that it is based on reality. So, it's sad when there's a mix-up like this, and these accidents do happen. But the beautiful part of it is that Dick Winters, the way I found out about it, there's a video of him being interviewed where he sets the record straight. I just recently watched War and Truth, Albert Blythe. I'll have to look for that, Paddy. That would be quite interesting. So, yeah, it seems like it's not something that's very commonly known, but there was a nice comment there about Dick Winters, even after all these years, because this interview was him when he was in his 70s or 80s or whatever, setting the record straight. And someone said, all these years later and he's still looking after his men, setting the record straight. So much respect for that. Much respect. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. Sorry for the long-winded rant at the end there. I know I lost a few viewers, but hey, this show is we have ways of making you talk. Podcast is good. I love the name of that podcast, Gus Peter. I'm going to have to check that out. I don't mind myself a good podcast, but yeah. Thank you all so much. We do this show because we love the game and we just love to talk, don't we, Marks?
Yeah, definitely. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Cluck, keep us updated with your map, mate.
Absolutely.
PTSD, unfortunately, mine is fight, no fun. Yeah, Rob, I've had that same issue as well. My missus is always getting up me for I've got a very strong fight instinct. And that fight is not always physical fight, but it's a lot of aggression at times. And I'm heavily medicated, 20 milligrams of Lexapro every day to keep me as a happy guy. But it still can be overridden. And you just inherently, even though I'm not the biggest, baddest, toughest motherfucker, you still just have that bit of mongrel in you that you just want to, and that's what you think, is it? And that's probably why I'm quite aggressive on Twitter and things like that, Mark, getting into a bit of a breakdown Boydie here. But I don't believe in stepping back for the sake of it. If I've got to step up, I'm more than happy to step up. Okay. Yeah, it's just words. It's just internet. I'm not going to pull my punches. If I've got something to say, I'll say it. I try to be a bit sensitive, but sometimes I just, it's hard. Sorry, I know we've gone off on a tangent here. PTSD advice with Boydie, 73, who served in, Marks?
Jamaica? Can't remember. You haven't mentioned it enough. I only heard it for the first time there.
Oh, we're going to be running cool, man.
Somalia.
Keep us updated on your project, mate. And it was great to have someone who's primarily just a member of the community on the show. If you too would like to come on, if you've got something, you don't even have to have a project you're working on. If you the Great Jamaican Conflict, fuck you, bastard. I love the roastings you give me. I do. Thank you, Paddy. I appreciate that. But I love the roastings, but keep us updated. And if you want to come on and just talk with us while we talk about stuff, if you've got a topic you would like to talk about, we're open to it. We just love it. It genuinely stuns me, Marks. The amount of times we've said maybe we should drop the frequency, but we always manage to find something to talk about. Sometimes it's just a revisit of an old topic, but it's an amazing game with an amazing community and an amazing dev team behind it. And BI, definitely. You've got all that money now from those sales of armor. Sponsor us. You let us give stuff away. That's all we want. We don't want to get paid to do this. We just want to get shit that we can give away. Give us merch. Give us whatever. Give us all expenses paid. Oh, you already gave us that. Okay.
No, you give us that. Yeah, wait. Hang
on. Awkward. But yeah. Cluck, thank you so much, mate, for all of your support over the years as well, mate. It is appreciated. We don't do a hell of a lot, but we do a bit, and any support from all of you who choose to support us financially, whether it be the Pally, the YouTube memberships, buying some merch or whatever, it's all appreciated because it helps us with just doing the things we do, whether it be running a server or sponsoring an event or helping a modder with their stuff. Awesome. Next week's guest, ladies and gentlemen, let me just look at the list. It is the one, the only, it's going to be a good one, actually. We've had him on before, and I'm a big fan of the guy, King Alex.
Oh, yeah. Is he not a console modder or something, right?
No. King Alex is the real British sniper who plays DayZ. Remember that guy?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm mixed up.
Paddy, thank you so much for the 5 gift subs at the end there. I really do appreciate it, mate. They go a long way to helping us with the channel. I think it helps you get you more exposure as well. You know, YouTube loves money as well. So, yeah. All of you who just got a gift membership, you have Paddy to thank. Thank you all so much. Good luck. Keep on.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All the best and ciao for now.
See you next time.